Chapter 1 of the Rival Pictures of Oakdale. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Recording by Michelle Eaton. Rival Pictures of Oakdale by Morgan Scott. Chapter 1. The Boy Who Wanted to Pitch. During the noon intermission of a sunny April day, a small group of boys assembled near the steps of Oakdale Academy to talk baseball, for the opening of the season was at hand, and the germ of the game had already begun to make itself felt in their blood. Roger Eliot, the grave, reliable, steady-headed captain of the 9, who had scored such a pronounced success as captain of the 11 the previous autumn, was the central figure of the gathering. Chipper Cooper, Ben Stone, Sleuth Piper, Chub Tuttle, Sile Crane and Roy Hooker formed the remainder of the assemblage. "The field will be good and dry tonight, fellows," said Roger, "and we ought to get in some much-needed practice for that game with Barville. I want every fellow to come out, sure." "Ho!" gurgled Chub Tuttle, cracking a peanut and dexterously nipping the double kernel into his mouth. "We'll be there, though I don't believe we need much practice to beat that Barville bunch. We ate 'em up last year." "We," said Sleuth Piper reprovingly. "If my memory serves me, you warmed the bench in those games." "That wasn't my fault," retorted Tuttle cheerfully. "I was ready and prepared to play. I was on hand to step in as a pinch hitter or to fill any sort of gap at a moment's notice." "A pinch hitter?" whooped little Chipper Cooper. "Now you would have got a lot of ice as a pindy hitter, wouldn't you? You never made a hit in a game in all your life, Chub, and you know you were subbing simply because Roy got on his ear and wouldn't play. We had to have someone for a spare man." "I would have played," cut in Hooker sharply, somewhat resentfully, "if I'd been given a square deal. I wanted a chance to try my hand at some of the pitching, but after that first game, Ames, the biggest mule who ever captained a team, wouldn't give me another show. I wasn't going to play right field or sit around on the bench as a spare man." Hooker had a thin, sharp face, with eyes set a trifle too close together, and an undershot jaw, which gave him a somewhat pugnacious appearance. He was a chap who thought very well indeed of himself and his accomplishments, and held a somewhat slighting estimation of others. In connection with baseball he had always entertained an overweening ambition to become a pitcher, although little qualified for such a position, either by temperament or acquired skill. True, he could throw the curves and had some speed, but at his best he could not find the plate more than once out of 6 times, and when disturbed or rattled he was even worse. Like many another fellow, he erroneously believed that the ability to throw a curved ball was a pitcher's chief accomplishment. "It was lucky Springer developed so well as a twirler last year," observed Eliot. "Lucky?" sneered Hooker. "Why, I don't recollect that he did anything worth bragging about. He lost both those games against Wyndham." "We had to depend on him alone," said Roger, "and he was doing too much pitching. It's a wonder he didn't ruin his arm." "You've got to have someone besides Springer this year, that's sure," said Hooker. "He can't pitch much more than half the games scheduled." "Phil's trying to coach Rod Grant to pitch," put in Sile Crane. "I see them at it last night, out behind Springer's barn." Roy Hooker laughed disdainfully. "That's amusing," he cried. "That Texan has never had any experience. But just because he and Phil have become chummy, Springer's going to make a pitcher of him. He'll never succeed in 1,000 years." "Here they come now," said Ben Stone, as 2 boys turned in at the gate of the yard, "and Phil has got the catching mitt with him. I'll bet they've been practising this noon." "Jinx, but they're getting thick, them 2, chuckled Chub Tuttle. "As thick as molasses in January," drawled Sile Crane whimsically. "Being thick as molasses, they're naturally sweet on each other," chirped Cooper. "Hi, hi!" cried Tuttle. "There you go. Have a peanut for that." "No nut for me. I shall not take it," declined Chipper. "It's a real case of Damon and Pythias," remarked Stone, watching the 2 lads coming up the walk. "Or David and Jonathan," said Eliot. Phil Springer, the taller of the pair, with light hair, blue eyes and long arms, looked at a distance the better qualified to toe the slab in a baseball game. But Rodney Grant was a natural athlete, whose early life on his father's Texas ranch had given him abounding health, strength, vitality, and developed in him qualities of resourcefulness and determination. Grant had come to Oakdale late the previous autumn, and was living with his aunt, an
Sample complete. Ready to continue?